How do you see the future of coaching changing in India specifically?
With regards to coaching industry, yes, definitely it is a booming. Statistically, also it is saying that it will boom at least 2x to what it is right now. So I read somewhere it is like 58,000 crores and now it's like 1.5 if I'm correct. हम वैल्यू ऐड करना चाह रहे हैं, ऑब्वियसली वैल्यू ऐड करना ही है. अब सपोज ये एक डिब्बा है जो मैं बेचने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ, मुझे पता है इस डिब्बे में 5 रुपए भी नहीं है, तो मैं क्या इसको 5 लाख में बेच पाऊंगी? नहीं बेच पाऊंगी. बट अगर मुझे पता है इस डिब्बे में 5 लाख रुपए हैं, तो क्या मैं इस डिब्बे को डिस्काउंटेड रेट पे लाख रुपए में बेचूंगी कॉन्फिडेंटली?
That what is the best way to attract clients into your programs, whether it's a webinar or your paid cohort?
My example, my story on how did I did it. So I'm an accidental coach. Okay, so just wanted to work on myself and learn some morning rituals from Tony Robbins. मेरे खुद की तो लगी पड़ी थी, तो that was not my intention to become a coach. तो खुद का तो लाइफ मतलब नहीं सवरा था, तो दूसरे को क्या कोच करूँगा. That was me. मुझे मेरे मेंटर ने सिखाया था कि भाई वीडियो बनाओ, कंटेंट बनाओ. I know how I started making videos. The first video I took around 35 retakes. Still it is on my YouTube. So it was 2008 and that time I was very fat, like 104 kgs, wearing big specs. So I was making videos and like my washroom is over here and I'm making videos. Suddenly the sabji wala is going, machi wala is going.
So, what do you feel about organic?
You have to open yourself because people like the authenticity that is coming out, right? So if I fumble in my videos, I generally don't edit my videos, right? So even if you go on my YouTube channel, if you see any of my videos, I don't do any kind of editing onto it. Right? So why? Because I want to keep it as raw as possible, because the people that I'm interacting with, they are at the same level.
Hello and welcome everyone to the round table where we are discussing the future of the coaching industry and how it is going to shape, with all the veterans here talking to us about how they have been successful in their coaching industry. I would take a moment to welcome all our speakers here. We have Amol, who is a NLP coach and has been teaching people how to get up in the morning and get rid of procrastination. I want to especially learn how to do this because sometimes we get into that comfortable zone, don't we? Then we have Aniruddha, who teaches you about confidence and has been working with multiple coaches to teach them how to have confidence while you have your coaching programs going in. That's another skill that I'm really interested in, because with getting up in the morning and having the confidence, you can be a game changer coach in the coming years. So I would want to welcome Amol and Aniruddha, and thank you for taking our time.
Thank you, Manmeet, for having
We
us.
all
Thank you
Thank
so
you. We
much.
also have Shweta here, who has been a homemaker for quite some time, but this adventure enthusiast has now turned into a LinkedIn brand strategist and has been working with corporates. And we are here to learn the combination of all these three speakers here. How do you actually get up in the morning, have the confidence to run your day, and make sure that you put all of that information and your achievements on LinkedIn? Thank you, Shweta, for making our time today.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
I know that all of these people have had about 5 to 10 and even more years of experience in the coaching industry, and there is so much to learn from all of them. I will start asking questions and we will see that how this discussion goes. Slowly and gradually as we move forward towards the end, we will open the room to all the people who are attending the session, and you're free to ask questions from any of our speakers. So let's get started, shall we? The first and the most obvious question to everyone is going to be that how do you see the future of coaching changing in India specifically?
So should I go?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So, first of all, I think Manmeet, I must appreciate for this initiative. It's a beautiful initiative that you have called Three Minds. So, everyone, I believe everyone has a different perspective, everyone has a different story and different experience. And I'm sure these coaches will learn from our experience what we have gone through. So, first of all, coaching industry is really going to grow because I believe each and every person in this world need coaches. No one can't fight their battle alone, and we need a support. Like for example, in school days we had teachers, Okay, when we went through colleges, when we completed engineering, we had someone, okay, who took care of our studies, and that's how we become successful. For me, whatever I am today, it's all because of my coaches. Before I start, I really want to say gratitude to my coaches, because if they were not there, I would have not able to reach over here. So if I need a coach, I believe everyone needs a coach, because you can't fight your battle alone. But there's one thing I want to say, and I want to be very honest over here. Today, nowadays, like people feel ki if you want financial freedom, become a coach. I just want to break this myth. It's a
Right.
myth that without working hard you can make money. Just work for 4 hours, just work for 5 hours. No, it's not going to happen. As a coach, your job is to help people, serve people. See, money is important, okay? But I believe if you really want to become a coach, first you know your values. Do you really love to serve people? Do you really love to coach people? Do you really love to give results to people? Then money is a byproduct. It will come. But nowadays, what I've seen the industry in last couple of years, coaches are just coming in the market. They are just getting attracted to shiny object syndrome, that there is a lot of money in coaching. There is a lot of money. But as I said, you need to have patience.
Correct.
So there are both good as well as the darker side of the coaching. But yeah, if you're humble and if you can work on yourself, because I believe coaching is all about you process. The more
Right.
you work on yourself, then you will be able to sustain, and you can grow to the next level. If you can't work on yourself, then it's very difficult. So as a coach, if you really want to grow in this coaching industry, just follow the you process. That's my perspective. Again, whatever I'm sharing, it's my experience and my perspective.
Correct.
So that's my perspective toward the coaching industry.
I absolutely agree. I think one of the things that I would like to agree with you when you said that, people are getting attracted to that shiny in syndrome that, there is money, so let's become a coach. They don't understand the kind of value, the pain, the effort, and the sleepless nights that go behind actually building that curriculum, building that program, and then being a successful coach. And there's a lot of investment also. It's just not that you've started a course today and tomorrow you're going to have a loop of, people coming in your programs. You might have to do some LinkedIn outreach that Shweta can tell us about, or run ads, or do something to get that pipeline in. So there's investment of time, money, and so much more before you actually see those profits coming in than that the world is showing us about.
Yes.
So I absolutely agree to that. I would love to ask Aniruddha you as well, that what do you feel the future of coaching is in India specifically?
In continuation with what Amol has already mentioned, to be very honest, I personally feel that coaching industry today is in very infancy stage in our country, right? And it has a very bright future in terms of, to be very honest, the base of it is somewhere or the other. If you interact with as many coaches as you want, you will always see that there is a base of spirituality attached to it, right? So why I see the growth of coaching industry is definitely going to be to probably we can't even think of the kind of growth that we'll see in coming 5 years or 10 years. Is definitely going to be the coaching capital of the world, right? That's simply because we have the base of spirituality in our approach, right? So that is where I personally feel it's definitely going to create a very, very huge impact on people's life. That's number one. Number two, in terms of what Amol also mentioned, that people generally look at the shiny object and they get into this one. Addition to it, I also feel that they feel that it's not only about the money that is coming in, it's the quick money that is going to come in, right?
Correct.
So sometimes what happens is कि अच्छा मैं 4 session ले लूंगा और 4 session से मैं I'll start charging high ticket, and then people will start converting, and suddenly I'll have a very flashy lifestyle wherein I'll just don't have to work, and I'll have a team to who will be reporting into me.
Correct.
And they'll be doing all the work. It doesn't work like that, right? I've seen Amol's journey right from day one, and I've seen the kind of effort that he has put in to be where he is today, right? I started my journey in 2013. It's almost been 11 years to me, and I struggled for 7 years just to make my first breakthrough. The first जिसको हम गिन सकते हैं, जिसको बोल सकते हैं ना यहाँ पे मुझे रिजल्ट दिखा, that day it took almost 7.5 years for me to reach there.
Yeah, but nobody sees that. Now they see what you are doing today and the level that you've achieved today, and then they say, okay, I can reach here in a short span of time.
Absolutely. And people come with a very, very weird kind of expectation. I'm sure all the coaches will definitely agree to it that मुझे ना 6 महीने में मुझे इतना इतना अमाउंट चाहिए
Right.
या मुझे 4 महीने में इतना इतना. Generally it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that it will not happen. It may happen, but it also takes a lot of groundwork, or it also takes a lot of efforts which goes behind the scene, which people don't even know. Right. So Usain Bolt many times says that I ran almost just 1.5 minute in my whole career, but for that I trained 20 years for it. Right?
Correct.
So
That's
that
true.
20 years are not seen by people, and what happens is ultimately they see that कि अच्छा 1.5 मिनट में अगर वो बंदा दौड़ करके अगर 100 million से ऊपर का बेनिफिट बना सकता है, तो that is something which I am also looking out for. Right. So I
Correct.
personally feel that if anybody wants to get into coaching industry in today's time, this is the right time to get into it, right? So let's be very honest on that aspect. Number one. Number two, it's a very beautiful industry to be into if you want to serve people, right?
Right.
If your
Right.
if
I
your
agree.
objective is like against the nature is also like it's always giving. It doesn't
Right.
ask for something, right? So you'll always need to give first, then you will get more in return, right? So if
Right.
your basic nature of giving, then definitely the universe is going to respond to you in multi-folds. You can't even measure that कि यार इतना सब कहाँ से आ रहा है. And so that is
Right.
something which is definitely going to happen. And have a very clear thought that, as we all will agree to this, that whatever we do in today's time, money is always going to be the byproduct. So if you
Correct.
have that thought process very clearly sorted in your mind, this is just the beginning of coaching industry in our country. We have not even scratched the surface. It's
Yeah.
definitely going to be multi-folds. I'm absolutely sure of that. That's my take on this one.
Yeah, I think I absolutely loved when you said that, if you work against the nature, which is the giving attitude, is because as a coach, if you, go back to the times, before us, so it is a teacher. A teacher today is a modern word for a coach. So a teacher always has to be giving and has to be sharing. So if a teacher develops an attitude of taking and, having that money first, having that money attitude first, that giving nature will never come, and it will reflect, and people can see that, they can sense it, and you will never be able to grow. So I think the best thing that I've picked up is that never go against the nature, and that nature is of giving, and then you will receive in abundance. That's, I think, the best takeaway I've got.
One more addition to it, just got into my mind, that never have that thought process, or the people who are listening to it right now, I would definitely would like to add this. We are not saying that you should not have the thought process of earning money.
Correct.
Right? We want you people to earn money, right? But don't get into the coaching thinking of earning money.
Correct.
इसमें आकर के मुझे पैसा बनाना है, don't think about that. इसमें आकर के आप सर्व करिए, पैसा आने वाला है, और वो
बिल्कुल.
आता ही है, right? So that's what I just wanted to add that on.
I think that's a very important point that you've highlighted, is because when you become a coach, like I said while I was speaking to Amol, that there's a lot of time and money investment that goes into becoming a coach. So I think what we are collectively saying here is that have something which is your main source of income right now, and then on the side start developing your coaching practice so that your main practice can fund the time and effort that your coaching needs. And once it starts to pick up, once you have that free flow, then you can get into it full time, and then you can see your career progress. So I think that's what we are saying collectively.
Yeah, and
Can I
I
add,
I just agree to this point, and it just request to each and everyone who's entering into coaching, guys, don't quit your job blindly. Okay, quit 9 to 5 doesn't work, please, because I've seen many people, they get into their emotions, people try to play with their emotions, they leave the job, and now these people are struggling. I have seen many examples. See, if your family is dependent on you, it's not the wise choice. What I will suggest you, see, I never quitted my job. First, I was working on Saturday, Sunday, I was doing coaching, and then when I got that confidence, when I was making a decent money, what I was working in times, then I decided to take a leap of faith and then I decided to leave the job. So the best thing is work on Saturday, Sunday on your coaching, get some money, get some confidence, get clarity on your niche, get clarity on your why, that why you want to do, get clarity on your program, get clarity on your target audience. And once you get that confidence, then go ahead, then you leave your job and then enter into full time. Yeah, I think Anirudh, you will also agree with me on this.
Absolutely.
Because
I just want to add
Yeah.
one point. Amol was more sensible than what I was, right? I left my job in 2013 with a 40 lakh loan on my shoulders, and I was not having anything to look up to. right?
Oh,
So I did that mistake. So why I'm saying this, and why I'm absolutely in sync with what Amol is saying is, when you're doing this, you will have to put in extra efforts because you are doing something parallelly,
Yep.
right? So
correct.
you're building, you're doing your job and you're doing something parallelly. So you need to do more efforts onto it. But when you're doing that extra effort, it's absolutely worth it once you start seeing results into it. Results in terms of reach, results in terms of visibility, results in terms of your authority, and ultimately the financial aspect also, right?
Correct.
What mistake I did was I left my job, so the steady flow of income I paused it, right?
With the
And
debt.
absolutely with a date, and then the outflow was going, right? So it's like मैंने बकेट रखी है, मैंने नल बंद कर दिया और बकेट में छेद बना लिया है, ठीक है?
Mm,
अब जो जा रहा है वो तो जा ही रहा है, आना बंद हो गया, ठीक है?
right.
Right? And I did a calculation that okay, probably I'll have 1.5 years of survival money with me, and I can definitely survive with that. In that duration, I'll build
Correct.
something up, and it will cover it up, right? It doesn't work like that, right? So whatever I had a calculation for good 2 years, it went off in 1 year. So it's exactly
Yeah.
50% of the time was absolutely gone. So I was like, left with nothing in my hand, and of course
Right.
loan was also there, right? So that is something which I would definitely agree. And to complete what Amol has already started with, whenever you want to think of leaving your job, right? So always think that whatever you are doing, is it giving you at least 60% of your salary on a regular basis?
I agree. I agree.
Right? I'm
That
repeating
consistent.
this on a regular basis, right? So if your salary is say 10,000 rupees, अगर आपकी salary का 60%, that is 6,000 rupees you are getting consistently on a regular basis, then think of leaving your job.
Correct.
Till that time, don't do it because it is not a wise decision, right?
I
It's not
agree.
a wise decision.
Manmeet, can I add or supplement what?
We'll take it towards the end. We'll take questions towards the end. I would love to ask Shweta as well. What are your thoughts on how the future of coaching is working in India as to what we've been discussing?
So I kind of echo with quite a few things that Amol and Anirudh have mentioned, but with regards to coaching industry, yes. So when we are saying coaching industry, prima facie, we are talking coaching in the business parlance. Okay.
Yes.
So definitely it is a booming. Statistically, also it is saying that it will boom at least 2x to what it is right now. So I read somewhere it is like 58,000 crores, and now it's like 1.5, if I'm correct, aimed at 1.5. So utna growth hai. So my contention with coaching professionals or coaches is that couple of things, and I am infamous for not mincing words, so I will not mince here as well. In my opinion, look at yourself as a business owner till the time you're actually sitting on a call with your client. Once you get
Exactly.
into the call with your client, then you are a service provider, then you are a coach. तो वो डिमार्केशन दिमाग में बहुत जरूरी है. हम वैल्यू ऐड करना चाह रहे हैं, ऑब्वियसली वैल्यू ऐड करना ही है, वैल्यू ऐड करना ही है. अब सपोज ये एक डिब्बा है जो मैं बेचने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ, मुझे पता है इस डिब्बे में 5 रुपए भी नहीं है, तो मैं क्या इसको 5 लाख में बेच पाऊंगी? नहीं बेच पाऊंगी. बट अगर मुझे पता है इस डिब्बे में 5 लाख रुपए हैं, तो क्या मैं इस डिब्बे को डिस्काउंटेड रेट पे लाख रुपए में बेचूंगी कॉन्फिडेंटली? कोई मुझसे कहेगा मैं 50 रुपए दूंगा, तो मैं बोलूंगी हटो भाई, बिकॉज मुझे पता है इसमें कितनी वैल्यू है.
Right.
सिंपल बात है. तो पहले तो आप अपना यू क्रिएट वैल्यू अराउंड whatever that you're building in terms of coaching, and you definitely would not be in a stage to quantify that from the day one. But as you evolve, you understand that okay, how much you can quantify. But my very big contention that I've seen coaches struggling is if I'm worthy, people will come to me. If you're worthy, people will come to you. People will come to you by chance. So आप एक ग्रोसरी स्टोर खोल के बैठे हो, बाय द वे कोई आ जाएगा. और ग्रोसरी वाले भी, they also do a lot of pamphlets here and there, talking, etc. Some marketing they are doing, right? So you depending too much on word of mouth, thinking that you're really this high coach, and I completely don't align with this whole high ticket thing. High ticket, if you are worthy, to claim for being a high ticket, to kind of close a high ticket client, by all means go there. But closing a high ticket client with something like this in your package is something that I don't resonate with personally. So 2 things: if you're a coach, sit till the time you are closing a client and getting into a coaching call or a consulting call. Till then you're a business owner, period. And don't get emotional about, this guy needs, this guy does not need. So for instance, if I am charging 50K right now, if someone can't afford, I'll say I'm afraid you won't be able to afford my services, but if you need any mentoring, I'm there for you. If I really feel that the guy is worthy my help, I will offer that. So you come to me free of charge, you come to me at 50K, but you can't get a discounted pricing, or you can't, I can't underquote or underprice myself, period. Or I tell them that you come back when you have the money. It may sound rude, uncouth to many, but fact of the matter is that, am I giving respect or owning my credibility? If I am not owning my credibility, then you will never be able to sell.
Right.
And selling is a life skill, whether you're a coach or not. And when it comes to coaching, selling is very important. And pardon me, I will not agree ki money is a byproduct of offering value. So for instance, when I started, I'm taking this a little longer. When I started, the quintessential question was, how much should I charge? Because there's no off the shelf information that how much possibly I can charge. To each his own. I was also told that, okay, if someone has paying capability of 1 lakh, why don't you charge 1 lakh? Someone has a but I was very sure that I'm offering the same value to everyone, so I will charge the same for everyone, because I'm comfortable selling in that way. So I think to each his own, in my opinion. But having said that, when you're starting and you're confused as to what should be your pricing, the way my mentor suggested, I kind of liked it, is analyze your time value. So if you're giving a coaching for 1 hour, analyze that if you were not doing coaching, other than that, the other alternatives that are there in the market for you, how much possibly you would earn in an hour. That is your time value. Now, based on the time value, you can possibly add the value that you're providing to the client and then come up with a pricing. But you get a baseline figure, so to say. So when I started my journey, my options were Cloud Kitchen, or my options were this, that, whatever. So I also figured, okay, say X is my 1 hour time value, and based on that, I will figure out, okay, how much possibly I'll charge. So if I'm providing, I came at a 1 hour price point, and then like if I'm offering a 4 hour coaching, then multiplied by that and whatever. So to kind of, coaching industry is here to boom, but people who are here to abuse coaching are not going to last.
I agree 100%. I think that is, I completely, agree to the point where you said that position yourself as a business owner and become a service provider when you're with the person in the call. I think that is something I absolutely agree to, because that is a mindset choice that you make to be able to run your coaching also as a business. There are expenses, there are finances, there's investment, there is ROI. So you actually run it as a business. And I absolutely, agree on the point where you ended it with, that people who abuse the leverage that they have today will not last long in the game. They might come for the shiny syndrome, like Amol said. They will be, out of the race by the end if they're just there for that particular aspect and they're not there to, actually help people. So absolutely agree on that. I think when we're talking about how the future of the coaching industry will turn around and how coaches will grow or how will their business prospects, one of the most important thing is for any coach to grow is prospects, leads, and sales in their pipeline. If they don't have their cohorts filled, if they don't have their webinars filled, then it will not become profitable for them. So I think the very possible next question is that what is the best way to attract clients as a coach? Because there is so much in the market that you can do organic Instagram, then you can do ads. You need to do ads because your bucket needs to be filled every month, or pick up other practices. So I'd like to know from each one of you, and we can start with Amol, that what is the best way to attract clients into your programs, whether it's a webinar or your paid cohort.
Okay, so I would like to tell my example, my story on how did I did it. I'm really not sure about others. So see, when I started in 2018, 19. So first, it was just working on myself, and that time I didn't had a dream also to become a coach. So I'm an accidental coach. Okay, so just wanted to work on myself and learn some morning rituals from Tony Robbins. Then I read this book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. मेरे खुद की तो लगी पड़ी थी, तो that was not my intention to become a coach. तो खुद का तो life मतलब नहीं संवरा था, तो दूसरे को क्या coach करूंगा? That was me. So
I think
just
one thing I'd like to add here, that is that all the successful people that I've spoken to, I have always figured this one thing out, that they have this underlining factor. Your mess is your message. You speak
yes.
to anyone, you speak to any successful coach, there has been a journey in their own life where they have struggled for it, and then they solved that particular problem, and then now they are training on that. All the
Yes.
people that I've spoken to, this is like an underlining factor, and you've just validated it again.
So my life was in mess totally. I never thought to become a coach. That was not my dream at all. Okay. So I started just working on myself, and then like one of my coach told Amol, just enter into this because you've been doing morning ritual, you have got the results, so that should be your first program. मैं बोला यार मैं पागल हूँ, बाकी लोग थोड़ी 5 बजे उठ के सब मॉर्निंग रिचुअल करने वाले, ठीक है, मेरे में थोड़ा सा वो चस्का था कि नो आई वांट टू चेंज, बट नॉट एवरीवन इज मोटिवेटेड टू वेक अप एट 5 o'clock. बट somehow that idea came and I thought कि चलो यार let's do try it. But then I was very clear, ये फेसबुक ऐड का तो मुझे पता नहीं था, व्हाट इज फेसबुक ऐड वो भी मुझे पता, आई वाज रियली नॉट नोइंग इट. मुझे मेरे मेंटोर ने सिखाया था कि भाई वीडियो बनाओ, कंटेंट बनाओ, उतना ही
Right.
पता था, मतलब उतना ही मुझे पता था कि यू नीड टू मेक वीडियोस, यू नीड टू बी ऑन सोशल मीडिया, यू नीड टू राइट कंटेंट, बट आई डिडंट हैव दैट ग्रेट राइटिंग स्किल्स, नाइदर आई वाज नोइंग हाउ टू मेक वीडियोस. सो मतलब I know how I started making videos. The first video I took around 35 retakes. Still, it is on my
Oh.
YouTube. So it was 2008, and that time I was very fat, like 104 kgs, wearing big specs. But still, like I was okay. Means I didn't care what other people will think and say. I just wanted to make, and I was making videos. Like that time I was staying in Chawl. So I was making videos, like my washroom is over here, and I'm making videos. Suddenly the sabji wala is going, machi wala is going. So mess, like the videos were messy. Okay, I did it, and let me tell you very honestly, I never missed posting single video on Facebook and YouTube. I was doing badly, and one of my mentor has said it to me, like, do it badly. Don't try to become perfect, because perfectionism is a myth, and no one is perfect in this world. And I just started making content. I started making videos, and then I don't know what happened. Uh, by God's grace, I'm really grateful to God. Like people started attracting towards my content, and then I decided, like after 3-4 months, when I was very active on social media after writing content, link, and everywhere I was doing it, and then I decided to launch one free webinar on morning rituals, and I
Okay.
just wanted to test like whether people are really joining. And it was around 1920, it was a COVID time, and people were needing this stuff, and probably I entered at the right time, by God's again, thanks to universe. So I just uploaded one poster. I created one poster on Canva, and I told I'm doing a free session on morning ritual. It will be like 2 hour session in the morning. People came, they liked it, and I was not knowing about selling. Like selling is something I had a lot of fear, but I told them, okay, let's do one thing. I will do it for free for 1 month. So I started 1 month. It was like a 30-day challenge, and then after 30 days, people asked me, Amol, we want to continue, and that's time when I started charging 1,999 for 1 month. So if you see the first one, so I will say the first 3 lakhs I made through organic. To be very
Okay.
just by posting content on Facebook, and but I was very disciplined. I was very consistent. So when I made first 3 lakh, then I decided now I need to go to the next level. Then I came to know about Facebook ads. So that's what been my journey. So initially, if you want to start and if you don't have money, so I would suggest you the best way is to put content. And yeah, when you put content, be who you are, be vulnerable and be authentic. Because what I have realized one thing, people love authenticity. See, this is very big word. तो मुझे ये word का definition भी नहीं पता था. Authenticity क्या होता है, vulnerable क्या होता है. Just be who you are.
Yourself.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
yourself. The way you talk to your family members, the way you talk to your friends, just open up. You don't need to always show the good side of your life, but always share your struggle also. And probably that is something which made me successful in the journey. So
Oh.
if my perspective is start with organic, make some
Right.
decent good money, save that money. Okay, now one thing which I want to which I did a mistake. So I started making money, but then like I wanted to fulfill like emotional, typical middle class family. I want to make my dad proud, so I took home and I just burnt. And Manvit's story when I told you. So don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't do that. Okay, ये थोड़ा सा emotional family drama थोड़ा सा side में रखो, थोड़ा like 2 to 3 years. Whatever money you make, put in the Facebook ads. Like keep 10-20% for you whatever necessities is there. But
Reinvest the money in business.
reinvest the money. So that time
Right.
you will be able to see the growth. Because I did that, so like probably I would have grown more. But okay, I'm not regretting. At least I was able to fulfill my parents' dream. So
Right.
so in short, start with Facebook, Instagram with organic. Post content and you'll attract your tribe. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
that's
think
been my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When you started back in the times, I think it was also the COVID time when digital was actually booming
Yeah.
in India at a pace that we did not expect it to boom. People were in the houses, they didn't have a lot to do, and then there was a lot of time at hand where people were actually consuming, content online, and that is a lot of people who started during the COVID time saw very nice organic reach. But I think
Yes.
this is a question I can take to Aniruddha now and
Yes.
ask that. Do you think that organic in today's time, since it benefited Amol and a lot of other people, and today Facebook ads is something where the cost per acquisition is rising to its sky high rates. You have to actually compete to be able to get a lead, and the prices are rising. But do you think organic is still an option for people? I mean, can they still compete organically because so many competitors have come in, and at the same time, we don't have the times like we had in COVID. So, what do you feel about organic?
So first of all, I'll definitely agree to what Amol has mentioned, and it's absolutely true that you need to be absolutely vulnerable, absolutely open, and in terms of you have to open yourself because people like the authenticity that is coming out, right? So if I fumble in my videos, I generally don't edit my videos, right? So even if you go on my YouTube channel and if you see any of my videos, I don't do any kind of editing onto it. Right. So why? Because I want to keep it as raw as possible because the people that I'm interacting with, they are at the same level. Right. So I am helping the budding coaches, right? So the people who are starting their journey till the age of 5, their experience age of 5 years, that is my target audience. So if I am doing very flashy kind of a thing or something which is very, visibly very attractive, then probably it will subconsciously probably put a little bit of pressure on them that acha aisa hona chahiye. Right. So that is something which, that's the reason I have a very clear thought that, okay, I don't do any kind of editing and all that stuff. So vulnerability point and the authenticity point is very well, shared by Amol, number one. Number two, even today, I don't run ads.
Oh, that's nice. Now,
Right.
that's something we want to learn about.
So I still run on organic reach. I still run on references. I still run on getting references for people or the people those who have already been into the industry or been into my programs as well, right? So I don't run ads at all, though I have the plan to start with it next year. That is 2025 is definitely, you will see some of my ads floating out here and there, but that is something which I'm planning to do. And as rightly said by Amol, that whatever you are earning right now, invest 80% of it back into your business, right? So minimum survival amount you have to calculate, right? So whenever you are planning to run your ads and all that stuff, calculate what is your minimum survival amount. So deducting that amount, से 10,000 आप कमा रहे हो, 4,000 आपको minimum survival amount है, तो 4,000 आप रख लीजिए, 60 of it, that 6,000 rupees should go back into your business. It could be for anything. It could be probably upgrading your social media handles. It could be, running your ads, or it could be just doing a photo shoot for yourself. Right? That's also an organic way of reaching out to people, because if you upgrade yourself, you are showing that, initially मैं ऐसा था, अब मैं ऐसा हूँ. Right? पहले मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं था, मैं दुनिया में एकदम मैं पागल होके पड़ा हुआ था, अब मैं ये हूँ. Right? So when you show that before and after kind of a thing, right? So that is what is definitely working in even today's time, right? Because every other person is running ads.
Right. There's so much of competition.
And ultimately, what do we say? The background of it, the algorithm is definitely going to get changed, right? So organic का algorithm कभी change नहीं होगा, क्योंकि organic के algorithm में आज भी emotions उतना ही important role play करते हैं. Organic के algorithm में आज भी लोगों का human connection उतना ही important role play करता है. Right? So when you share all these elements with your audiences, when you share all these things with your clients, definitely people start connecting with you. Initial years mein, I don't recommend to run ads at the cost of burning your hard-earned money. You're earning money from your coaching, from your business, put that back into your business. And if you're running ads, it's fantastic. Please go ahead and do that. Right? But understand how you do it, then only do it. Right?
Absolutely.
Randomly, if you're doing it, then ultimately you're burning your hard-earned money. No? So that is something which I would not recommend. But organic is yes, 100% yes. Right? So once you have squeezed your 100% organic audience, then you start reaching out to inorganic, because by that time you have already built a good number of, probably testimonials or the case studies that you can showcase it to inorganic audience also. Right? So simple terms में अगर मैं इसको बोलूं, आपने दुकान खोल के रखी है, आपने एड्स रन कर दी, लोग दुकान में आ रहे हैं लेकिन दुकान में कुछ नहीं है. राइट. आपकी दुकान में बेचने के लिए कुछ होना चाहिए ना पहले. आप उसमें कुछ ना कुछ तो भरोगे, तो वो कुछ ना कुछ जो है वो आप ऑर्गेनिक से भरिए. जब आपकी दुकान में मटेरियल आ जाएगा, फिर आप लोगों को ऐड रन करोगे, यार मेरी दुकान में ये माल भी मिलता है, प्लीज कम एंड बाय फ्रॉम मी. Right. So organic is something, it's always going to be the foundation. Inorganic can definitely, it will fluctuate up and down, right? But organic is always going to be there.
I think when we talk about organic, since Amol mentioned, it was for him, I think Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And that is something that worked for him and still continues to. When it comes to organic channels, what are your channels that you'd like to recommend?
I am in love with LinkedIn, to be very honest. Right. So I am absolutely in love with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has always given me the kind of, the interactions. This very conversation is happening because of LinkedIn, Manmeet. I believe that, right?
Correct.
So we had our first conversation happening on LinkedIn itself, right? So, and the kind of talk opportunities that I've got, the podcast opportunities that I've got, or invitations to different institutions to interact with students at times as well, all has happened because of LinkedIn specifically. Right? That doesn't mean that, other platforms doesn't work, right? But for me, LinkedIn worked much better as compared to any other platform. Rather, I started using Instagram quite late, right? So it's almost been good 2.5 years that I've used LinkedIn like crazy. And it's almost been like 6, 7 months, 8 months that I've started using Instagram more as compared to any other platforms. But still, LinkedIn is my first love, in terms of, getting the results and, interacting with people. So that's what works for me.
I think we are very nice, swaying into the next question. That is, we have someone here who also has LinkedIn as their first love. So we would love to ask Shweta, being a LinkedIn coach, that, what is the best way to use LinkedIn to be able to approach people for your programs or cohorts? Because I come from a performance marketing perspective. I have a performance marketing agency, so I always feel that if you're able to run ads and get pipelines, get applications, it is very easy for you to speak to those people and then quickly fill your cohort. But I understand LinkedIn is also sometimes a slower process. So if you have a cohort, let's say starting December, and you need 15 people to be a part of the cohort, how do you actually go about, reaching out to people? Is it that you message people that would you like to enroll in this program, or you upload content and attract people? How does LinkedIn work for a coach in attracting students to their programs? That's what I would want to learn from you.
So, for performance marketing to work, people should be able to gauge your performance.
Correct.
So, performance marketing will not work until you have some substance to show to the audience that, hey, this is how my performance is. So, a quintessential example is a fitness coach. So आपने किसी मोटे बेडोल फिटनेस कोच को नहीं देखा होगा. प्लस आपने अपनी फिटनेस पे वर्क किया है एंड देन you have friends, relatives, worked with 10 people, got their testimonials, got their and I've seen that also getting very abused, but let's leave that for another discussion. But the thing is that you should be able to showcase your performance for your performance marketing to work. So
Correct.
an Ankur Wariku or a Niharika or anybody whose cohorts get sold out before even they start is because there is a proof of merit already in place.
Right.
For whether to choose organic or whether to choose performance, I have always been, up until now, my business has been running through organic. And when I say organic, my business thing that moves my needle is being consistent with what I post on LinkedIn. As simple as that. And on an average, 3 to 4 discovery calls, what I believe my strength has been is, as rightly put by Amol, is authentic showcasing of what I do, and also my ability to convert. So if
Yeah.
I'm able to convert 1 out of the 4 every week, then I'm in a decent space, because then the kind of money and the retainer model that I have, I don't want to go that fast that I'm not able to control. So right now I'm in the phase of putting my systems and processes. To answer your question, how should anyone use LinkedIn to get organic leads? Again, I'm coming back to the thing that you should be in a space of a business owner till the time you have people inside the room, and you should have multiple touch points where you can bring those leads. So a typical marketing parlance is top of the funnel, medium of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and most coaches ke profile mein I don't see that on LinkedIn, that hey, you appear to be a decent coach, but then how do I go about connecting with you? What is the next step that is there for me? So working on the psychology of a customer or a prospect and showcasing how they can. So if you're tiptoeing, then maybe you can choose this free book. If you have certain level of faith, maybe you can come and join this webinar. It's a throwaway price. And if you've already been following me and trusting me and you're sitting on the edge, book a discovery call. So you know that, okay, there are different phases in a customer journey. And if I have something only, okay, till the time you decide to buy my services, there's nothing that I can offer you. This is a wrong marketing approach when it comes to LinkedIn. So you should always have some or the other manner in which that you are selling constantly. Now, if I have a cohort coming up in December, already on a consistent basis, I have escalated the customer journey from a top of the funnel to a bottom of the funnel already. That has been like given. That's something that I'm doing on a consistent basis.
Correct.
But other than that, I will start writing content around the FAQs that people ask me with respect to what value I'm providing in that cohort. I will start writing content where I'm sharing some genuine success stories. And obviously, if I want to organically fill that cohort, I will have a method where I nudge the audience in the end to sign up for the cohort. As simple as that. So it has to be a proper, one fine day after giving a lot of gyan, hey, mera cohort join karo, ye nahi sell karega. So very
Correct.
classic example is the way I see Justin sharing, or the way I see any other, good coach, Sahil also for that matter. So I think those are the ways organic will work, where you are just sliding the customer into the cohort and not actually pushing him or her. So consistency, other coaches have also pointed out, is the key when it comes to getting your seats filled organically. So you cannot decide that okay अच्छा दिसंबर में कोहॉर्ट आ रहा है तो नवंबर में मुझे लिंक्डइन पे एक्टिव हो जाना है,
Yeah, it has to be the
और
momentum.
कोहॉर्ट भर गया उसके बाद 3 महीने तक लिंक्डइन से गायब हो जाना है. That
Yeah.
will not work. No.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also, like, you were mentioning about webinars. I think if I may sum up from what everyone has said so far, I think there is a clear line between that if you're looking for one-to-one sessions, more personalized coaching, and maybe, cohorts where numbers are smaller, organic might work for you, especially LinkedIn, organic might work for you. And in the times of COVID, when Instagram, YouTube content was also working to get big numbers, but today, if we talk about filling webinars, for that, I think performance marketing is number one. If you have to, fill big numbers into your rooms in webinars, but if we are talking about getting one-to-one consultations, getting private coachings or smaller cohorts, then you can build the momentum on your social media, LinkedIn, and then get those seats filled. Depends upon what is the model of coaching that you're following and how many people do you require and what's your L1, L2, L3, and that's, another discussion. Whether you're selling only at a higher price or whether you're going with that 99 or 199 webinar, which
See,
I
what I feel,
yeah.
Manmit, it's totally depend on your values. Means, for example, for Shweta, she's very comfortable because I'm sure her value might be family. She wants to give her, so like she's very comfortable in doing one-on-one coaching, and she's very like if she was getting 4 clients, if she's doing discovery call, she's very happy. For example, for Anirudh, he might have certain goals. For me, yeah. Like for example, let's say I want to scale. When I started, I didn't want to scale. I was very happy. But if I want to scale, then obviously I need to take help. Say I have taken help of performance marketing, and I've seen results. We get results from both organic as well as inorganic. So I want to create a community. But initially, like organic is a good way. But if you really want to scale up or if you really want to create a community, it totally depends on your need. Like for example, if someone say me, Amol, are you comfortable doing one-on-one discovery calls, one-on-one coaching? I think that's not my strength. I'm like one to many. Okay.
Yeah.
Like one to one, yeah. Like it's fine sometime, but I can't do. I've done discovery calls also, but then I've realized my strength. So I feel everyone has their own strength. Shweta has her own strength. Aniruddha has their own strength. Me has like I have my own strength. So depending on the strength, I think the platform will work.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
model works on how the coach prefers to,
Yes.
build, their favorable way of doing and getting people into their funnel and how much time would they like to spend and which model would
Yes.
they like to follow.
So, for example, Ankur Wariko, I'm sure when he started, he just posted one thing on LinkedIn and suddenly his program got hit on time management. But now, then after that, he started like every time you saw YouTube, you'll see his ads or, like on. So, like he wants to grow now. So,
Correct.
so that's how it works.
Yeah, right. So I think collectively, I keep summing it up so that if people are watching it, they know what's the concise discussion. I think what we've collectively said is that if you're beginning, if you're into your initial years, start with organic, be consistent, put out yourself, be yourself, and let people understand who you are and what you're trying to bring to the table. And as you move ahead, if you're more comfortable with private sessions, with, one-to-one coaching, then keep scaling the organic or might as well get into performance marketing. But if you're someone who wants big numbers, wants to fill webinars, wants to have more people in the room, then you would have to eventually get to performance marketing. But considering, like Aniruddha said, doing it the right way so that you don't burn your money and you actually, see a return on investment on that. I think very nicely we are moving into the next segment, which is happening in the market right now, especially for coaches, which is the 99 and the 199 webinars that have been running. And I think Amol would have a lot of experience here because, and he's smiling while I said that, because what is happening in the market is that a lot of times when you run performance marketing ads to be able to acquire that customer at 99 rupees, sometimes you end up paying 200, 300 rupees and more than that. And then you have to make sure that those people buy your next level. Only then you'll be able, then you'll be profitable. If you're doing it for free, even Facebook gives you a lead for lower cost per acquisition, and then you can, get them into your next cohort. So whether you have done this or not, I would like to ask this question to everyone, beginning with Amol, since he has experience in this. What are your thoughts about doing a 999 or a 199 webinar? Is it the right way to get people into your, top of the funnel? Or what do you think should be a lead magnet or getting them into your system?
अगर आपके बाप ने बहुत पैसा कमा के रखा है बहुत प्रॉपर्टी है, बहुत कुछ है, then you definitely start with 199, 499 paid funnel. Okay, but if you don't have money, okay, it's better to start with free. Okay, but nowadays free webinar also like 70, 80 rupees per lead we are getting, and 99 rupees. I've tried 99 rupees funnel, but again the cost is around 600, 700. Like Facebook is going to the next level. Okay, so I believe again people who are starting their journey and people who don't have anything, who don't, like as Anurul said, who don't want to burn money, I prefer it with free webinar. Okay, now yeah, see, there are pros and cons for both free as well as paid webinar. If you do free webinar, there is a chance that you will not attract the right audience. But see, usually, like when I started my ads in 2020-21, so usually like when 100 people register for free webinar, we would get around 30% people joining. Okay, but nowadays it has dropped down. So if 100 people register for free webinar, you just get 20 to 25%. And obviously you need to do a lot of follow up, like WhatsApp automation. There's so many things, like we need to have one person who will call them because the market is growing. Yeah. So if you feel you have money, and if you are ready to burn money on the level 1, because you will make profit in level 2 level, if you have a solid L2 and L3, then you can start with 99 rupees. Now some people I've seen, they're starting with 9 rupees, but I really don't understand that funda. It's better you do it free. Why you want to charge 9 rupees also? So some people are starting with 99. So 99 is good. You will get good audience, but again attendance is also the same thing what I've seen. Like not 100, like people pay 99, like people are not so driven. Okay, by paying 99 they will come, so the attendance will be again between 30 to 40% if they're paying you 99 rupees, but you will get decent audience. That what I have realized. So it totally depends on where are you in your business. Let's say if you're making 10 lakhs consistently, or if you're making between 7 to 10 lakhs consistently, then I would suggest you go for 99 rupees. But if you're not making, if you're just making less than 3 lakh, then go it for free webinar, depending on where are you in your financial thing in your business. So that's my perspective.
Yeah. I think you've put it very well that this is to each to his own, where they are in their journey, and then they translate into what they would like to do. I would love to have thoughts from Aniruddha as well, and then Shweta. What do you think about the whole 99 paid funnel webinar that works? Though I know that you're organic first, but then I would want to understand your thoughts from a higher perspective from the coaching industry, that since you plan to go into ads next year, how do you think that is going to translate about having a webinar with filling rooms of 99 and 199?
First of all, I absolutely agree with what Amol said, that you get a good quality number of people when you have a little bit of amount attached to it, right? So 9 rupees funda, even I don't understand, right? So I don't know how it works. But the second point which I would like to highlight here is, I still have the 3 days event that is going to happen, or the webinars, free webinars that I generally do, right? So that is also a good way of filling the room in terms of like, आपका L1 में अगर अच्छा ऑडियंस है ना, तो L1 is not for profit. Now what happens, it many times it's people start looking out for profit right from day 1, or probably from month 1, or probably month 3, right? So that is not where the profit is going to happen. Profit happens at level 3 when you start saying no. आपको जब conversions अच्छे दिखने लगते हैं तो आपको profit आने के chances वहां पर बढ़ते हैं, right? So it's like you plant a mango tree today, and tomorrow if you are expecting that I should have good mangoes coming out of the tree, it's not going to happen. Right? So if you are starting your journey today, at least there are 2 ways of doing it. One is farming and second is hunting, right? So I personally feel that you should always focus on, all the people who are listening to this right now, focus on the farming aspect of it, not the hunting aspect of it. So anybody who is looking out to have immediate results, right, they are of a hunting thought process, right? आज client मिला, आज पैसा आया, काम खत्म, right? But that is not how, at least for me, I personally feel that is not for me, which I personally feel that it always the farming which worked more for me. So you bring people into your universe, you nurture them for a good amount of time, then you start bringing into, you can introduce your program to them for level 1 or level 2 or level 3, and the actual conversion or actual profit comes from level 3, wherein you are actually charging good amount of money from them. Right. Now what happens is, in terms of जो 99 वाला principle है 199 वाला principle है, as Amol said that it's a throwaway price, right? So it's not even people may not even bother if that money is not if they lose it, it's absolutely okay for them.
Right, correct.
So but for us it is a cost.
Yes, correct, because it's going out of our pocket. And
Absolutely, right? So that's the reason I would generally prefer to go for a free webinar, right? And
Right.
after conducting a free webinar, I will probably have a 3 days event twice or once in a quarter or so that I can pitch in my the level 3 in that particular 3 days event, right? So I would focus more on to the free webinar. From there I will take them to the 3 days, and from there I will probably pitch the big ticket that I have.
Right.
And in my webinar, level 1 can be also pitched for that, right? So level 1 is generally, anything which is of 4 figures is generally considered as a level 1. So you can pitch it from that particular aspect. So that will definitely help.
I think now that we've been talking about L1, L2, L3, I think the next question that I'd like to ask, and that I think I would like to route to Shweta, because you're someone who's working on mostly one-on-one coaching with, a bit of a premium price that you've set for yourselves. There are coaches in the market as well who are only focusing on their higher levels. They might have a free lead magnet, but then they jump exactly, right after the lead magnet, the free lead magnet that they've built, to their coaching and, getting into the premium programs. So what are your thoughts about that approach in the market as well, wherein you have a free lead magnet, you give them an option to consume value from you, and then they jump straight into your high value premium coaching? What do you feel about it?
So as we discussed earlier, I think it depends on the model. It depends on what you're comfortable with, in my opinion. So if you are very strongly building your personal brand by adding a lot of value through your content on LinkedIn, the way I'm doing, or maybe other platforms as well. If you have lead magnets which you're giving away for free for a very high perceived value, and not just perceived very high value in reality also, it does help you convert the direct high ticket sale, as in my case. Now I'll give you a very simple example of one of the coaches that I'm coaching community that I'm part of, and that gentleman has a 7-day WhatsApp challenge. Okay. In that 7-day WhatsApp challenge, the model that he's operating in, and I'm pretty amused by the whole model, so to say, is that 7-day you're providing a lot of value, and over a period of time, this may not be like right from the day one, but over a period of time, he has built a community of coaches, and these community people volunteer to participate in these challenges as volunteers who are going to be mentors. So when you are giving an exercise in the WhatsApp challenge, then there are mentors who are volunteering, and okay, wow, you did this exercise correct, or maybe you should look at doing that and all that. So it's a very highly engaging 7-day WhatsApp challenge. The start day is a call for whosoever is part of the challenge. Again, if there are 500 people part of the WhatsApp challenge, 100 will end up attending that online call. Online call is about what this challenge is all about, blah, 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 and the challenge starts. In the mid of the challenge, they have a call wherein there's high quality value shared. And this is a community of coaches, again, talking about how the coaching industry works and how you can choose and all that. And in that final call that you have, 3 calls in between the 7-day challenge, the final call, he sells a coaching program worth 2.5 lakhs.
That is
Okay.
also, but that is also a model
Yeah.
that's available.
Yeah. And obviously, out of the 500 that has joined the WhatsApp challenge, only 15 would possibly sign up for a price point like that and a commitment of 6 months. Now, but the thing is that they have tasted the blood. The 500 folks have tasted the blood. They've seen enough value, and they've seen 15 people or 18 people or 20 people joining for such a high ticket program. So the credibility is established, the value is established. They may not be ready right now, they may not be able to take the decision, but they will definitely become part of his lead generation channel.
Pipeline. Yeah.
and it's then up to you that how long you're ready to nurture that. What I
Correct.
see missing in coaching is also like you have a lot of leads, but you don't have a methodology to stay in touch with them all along, like till the end of time. So
Yeah.
if you don't have that mechanism, then I have had people who have come back to me after 2.5 years saying, "Hey, now I'm ready. Let's start."
Yeah.
But now I'm ready, let's start will only happen that if you build that brand recall. If you're not investing in building that brand recall, if you're not there in front of them when they open LinkedIn, if they are not in front of them when they are opening emails, it may be irritating for some. But uh, as I keep telling that, become unignorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're unignorable, if you can build that brand recall, whether you like it or don't like Ankur Warikoo for that matter, whether you like him or you don't like him, you can't ignore him.
Yeah, that's true. I completely resonate with you when you said that, if you're not keeping in touch with them by the end of the time, and I think that's the number one goal that we focus on as an agency. We've built something called India's first no more no show system, which is a nurturing system where you actually, keep in point with them through a story sequence, through system sequences, and then until they are in your pipeline, you keep talking to them. So I always give this funny example because, this resonates with the Indian audience, that if someone comes to your home, you've given them water, and then you're sitting and talking with them, and then you're not offering them anything else, and then they'll go back and they'll say, "Arey, mujhe to pucha hi nahi." Because Indians are known for hospitality. You need to give some sweets, some namkeen, something to eat, but you're not offering them anything. So they go back with a heavy heart saying कि यार पानी के आगे कुछ पूछा ही नहीं. So you actually have to feed your people in your funnel. Keep giving them something. Sometimes some sweets, some namkeen, some email which shows them the opportunity cost, something that shows them about the case studies, something that gives them value, sometimes giving them a direct offer. But whenever they think about your industry, you should be on the top of their mind. And then time is not a duration. They might convert in 6 days, 6 months, or maybe 6 years in the highest of time. But if they remember you for something, for example, if we talk about confidence coaching, if Aniruddha sends those emails and those nurturing systems, they'll always remember him for being the confidence coach. Even if someone else comes along, he'll be on the top of the mind. And whenever they make a decision, it they're already sold. Now we don't have to make the job of selling them. So I think that's one thing I completely resonate with, and I call this system conversations to conversions. You open conversations with them, and that's how the money flows into your system. So I completely resonate with you on that, Shweta.
I want to add something like, if you're really focused on building, putting yourself out there consistently, authentically, as spoken earlier also, people who may not have taken your services also, in my case, I have seen like, 5, if I'm correct, 5 retainer clients closing referred by someone whom I've like literally invested time in figuring out who this guy is, because I've not seen him in my email list. I've not seen in liking or commenting anywhere on my content. He's just consuming my content and referring people to me whom I have ended up closing.
Yeah.
So it's very angelic, so to say. But I want to thank that person out loud if you're listening. That please reach out to me, and it is heartening that somebody finds so much value in you, that they put their reputation on the line and suggests your name to someone who actually ends up buying your service and kind of be on a retainer with you for more than a year. Now this is this, and possibly if the one person that he would have referred did not close or did not get that value, he may not have referred more. But then that is also one thing. But if you're really focused on building your personal brand, and very recently I came across like a business owner running 5 businesses, 6 businesses, and all that run through his personal brand. There's nothing, nobody knows about the business name, so to say, but they know, okay, this lady is running or this gentleman is running. So
Yeah.
it's underrated, but you have to focus on that. The closures happen through that. So no matter how much money you're ready to invest in performance marketing, no matter, yes, I do agree that when you have to scale, and if you have that model wherein you have L1, L2, L3, L4, whatever, then you need to follow a pattern. But just because we are there online, folks are going to listen. I would want you to tell that I've seen coaches, um, you know, following a cult, so to say, and they believe that yahi ek tarika hai. You may start with one. Please be in that experiment zone in the first 2-3 years and figure out what is working out for you, which is in total alignment with your persona, purpose, and audience. Now,
Right.
if these three, मतलब ऑटो रिक्शा है ये, अगर ये तीनों पिलर्स ठीक से चल रहे हैं, इन अलाइनमेंट चल रहे हैं, तो जो मॉडल आपके लिए वर्क करता है वो आपके लिए वर्क करेगा. And
Correct.
like for a Deepak Kanakraju, or for a Siddharth Rajshekhar, or for a Rajiv Talreja, or for a Ankur Warikoo, you see for yourself there are different models that are working, and
Correct.
if you're following them closely, you will also see the change in the models that they have made.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So, and one important thing is, when you're a coach, you are the product.
I 100% agree. I think
You are
that
the
the
product. If
golden
you are
words.
not, if you are not, like, if suppose if I have to sell a product, I will work towards improvising that product, work towards creating different product lines. I would work towards packaging it in a way where it is appealing to people, right? Now, all of that are we doing for us as a product? Now, if you're not doing that, then we're missing the bus anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to use that as the subject line of this video on YouTube. You are the product. If you are
No,
coach,
and
you are the
and I
product.
and I agree with Shweta. So like as she said about Rajiv. So if you see Rajiv's coach, his name is Ashlesh Rao, and he's my NLP coach. He's in the NLP coaching since 20 years. He has not run single ad, and his entire business, okay, is through reference.
That's coming
Okay,
back.
can you imagine? Means, because I am part of his program, I know the value he adds. Can you imagine 20 years in coaching, not done an Facebook ad, and his batches every year are full,
All batches are
and
full.
all batches are
That's
full,
true.
and
Yeah.
every quarter he, like, when the moment he tells that I'm starting an NLP coaching program, like, I have given so many references because I know that guy has given me so much value, so much value. And what he charges 1,30,000 for an NLP coaching program, but I know the efforts that he put, because his intention is he want to create beautiful NLP life coaches, not just coaches who are coming and know and who don't have that intent. Now see, can you see two things? Rajiv Talraj is a business coach. He is running ads, but his coach is not running ads. We're seeing two people in one
Yeah,
one
right.
frame, and he's happy with what he's making. Like I'm sure he's making every year 1 CR, 2 CR, but he's happy because at the end of the day he wants to spend a lot of time with family,
Correct.
and he doesn't want. And when I ask him, "Ki, why don't you run Facebook ads?" I don't know, and he's never active on any. If you go and check on LinkedIn, who is Ashlesh Rao? Who is Monica Thimaji? They are not active on Facebook. They are not active on Instagram. They are not active on just what you said. They just have conversations.
Yeah.
They
Conversation.
just have conversations, and with that, and people like their conversations, and then they directly sign up for the program.
Right.
So in addition to what Amol has mentioned, it's and of course Shweta has given a very wonderful, the 3 pointers: persona, purpose, and audience. I was just making the notes also of that, right? So I personally believe that whenever you are interacting with your audience, now all the coaches who are listening to this, don't sell a program to them, sell a journey to them, right? Sell an experience to them, that what exactly is going to transfer in them, right? So when you do that, right? And whenever you are identifying a mentor or a coach for yourself also, I always align with the values that the person is having, right? So if my values are integrity, for an example, family or money or something like that, so your first 3 values should be in line with the person's 3 values as well, because if the value mismatch happens, then there is a huge disconnect that happens, and ultimately the person comes out with dissatisfaction कि यार मुझे जो चाहिए था वो नहीं मिलता, right? So
Correct.
if at the initial stage itself, if you realize that, okay, the values are not matching, it's always better to step out and be at good terms, saying that, okay, value match nahi kar raha, it's better for me to find somebody else. And you will always find people who are matching your values and your vibe, right? And
Correct.
your vibe attracts your tribe, no? So it's as simple as
100%.
that, right? So that is
100%.
something which I think that, is always has to be kept in forefront, that okay, अगर मुझे अगले 6 महीने में इतना पैसा कमाना है और मेरे मेंटर का या मेरे कोच का वो पैसा is not the first thing which is going to deliver it to me, then probably I'm not with the right mentor.
Right.
Person is not wrong, understand that, right? Neither the expectation is wrong or the person is wrong. It's not like that. It's only the value is not matching.
Correct.
तो आपकी वैल्यू अगर आपके मेंटर के साथ या आपके मेंटी के साथ अगर मैच करती है, तो देन द पर्सन विल बी मोर हैप्पी टू बी विद यू. बट इफ योर वैल्यू डजंट मैच, जो हम कई बार ऑल द थ्री ऑफ अस एंड एवरीबॉडी ऑन द रूम इज इंटरेक्टिंग अबाउट द वैल्यू, राइट? सो मेरे लिए सबसे ज्यादा नॉन निगोशिएबल एलिमेंट क्या है? आज अगर मेरे पास पैसा नहीं और मुझे पैसा कमाना ही अगर मेरी सबसे बड़ी प्रायोरिटी है, तो मुझे ऐसे मेंटर को ढूंढना पड़ेगा जो मुझे 6 महीने में 4 महीने में इतना पैसा कमा के देने का ताकत रखता है.
Correct. I agree. I
If
think
that is not is the case, then it's definitely going to be a challenge.
yeah, then it's going to be a mismatch of expectations from your mentor or your coach, because like Amol said, that there are people who know you who have their family preference first, or people who would like to travel first, who would like to keep money first, or you have your own preferences. So if you've gone with a mentor who's asking you to push, make money, work hard, and then you're like, no, I want to relax and I want to work and make money. So you're probably going with the wrong mentor, and then you get dried out saying that I don't want to work so hard, I don't want to work like this, and then you get dissatisfied with that mentor. But you need to analyze whether that mentor is following the path that you want to follow, and then choose your mentor. And similarly, have that in you, that you look for mentees when you have conversations with them in the webinar, or maybe in the one-to-ones, or maybe in the discovery calls. You look for the mentee, that are they on the same path as you or not. If you want them to relax and work, but are they someone who wants to push and work, they will be dissatisfied because they'll not get results, because they wanted to push and you're asking them to relax and work. So there has to be a synergy and a vibe that matches either with the mentee, or if you're choosing a mentor, to be able to see the desired results that you want to. So I think that's a very valid point.
Here, I would want to add a few things, which is very confusing. The difference between, we spoke, quite a few similes, if I may use that word. Teacher bola, mentor bola, coach bola, consultant bola. Everything is different. Everything is different. So the easier way to understand that, if you're positioning, in my opinion, if you're positioning yourself as a coach, the person initially is looking up to you as a educator.
Yeah.
Okay, when they're reading your content, or then when your education is influencing them, you become influencer, not the influencer, but in a way, once they start implementing things, what is influencing them, and they see some results, then you become a mentor for them in a way. And once they see merit in you as a solution provider, you end up becoming their coach. So there is a process, there is a journey from the customer standpoint. What I have to offer, this is what I have to offer, but also step into their shoes and understand how they are seeing you.
Correct.
And like, if I am only seeing you as an educator and you're not evolving as a solution provider, there is something that you're not doing right. So I
Yeah.
see a lot of people with really good quality content on LinkedIn, but no business whatsoever. And why aren't they getting business? Then you're not evolving from an educator to a solution provider, that hey, you can come to me as a solution provider. And this is something that you should keep looking at in terms of how you can make this happen. But mentor is a different thing. Like, I can mentor 50 people, but mentoring is not usually paid. But coaching, definitely, again, coaching, in my opinion, is not teaching. You can't teach. So so when I started my journey, and my background, I was pretty intimidated that एक CEO IIT IIM का बंदा, उसको मैं क्या ही सिखाऊंगी. I had this. Then my mentor told me, and I'm using the word mentor, told me that he is not a fool to pay you a sum of 30 or 50, knowing that you have no, leverage whatsoever
Yeah.
in terms of industry exposure or whatever. He understands that you can add value where he is missing. You have a zone of excellence that he is tapping into, and you as a coach need to believe and own that zone of excellence कि ये एरिया है. मैं सबको बोलती हूँ, सर बिजनेस आपका है, प्रोफेशन आपका है, आई नो नथिंग अबाउट इट, but I can tell you what you should be doing with the knowledge that you possess. How you should be translating it into LinkedIn posts, how you should be, showcasing yourself, projecting yourself, etc. Again within alignment to persona, purpose, and audience. But the thing is, coaching is more about answers उनके पास हैं, आप उनको nudge करो to get those answers. In my opinion, that is the right way if one would define a coach. Teaching is like, okay, I can teach you maths, I can teach you English, I can teach you calligraphy, I can teach you something, but I cannot coach you in that. Coaching is a little different process in my opinion. So
Yeah.
when people are positioning themselves as a coach, I've seen growth strategist, ये वो, आप clear तो रहो, आप करके रहे हो,
Yeah.
है ना? What is it that you are positioning yourself as? Sorry,
Yeah.
I interjected in the conversation, but I thought that this is something
No, that's what it is meant to be. No, I think you very rightly put that the clarity of the person positioning themselves is very important. That's how the others who are perceiving their content will also understand it. And one of the key things that I understood was that you mentioned that a coach's responsibility is to discover yourself and learn things and grow yourself. So you help discover the people that you're working with. That I think is absolutely one of the key takeaways that I've got from the conversation. I think we've spoken a lot about how the future of coaching is changing. What is the method to attract clients, and how to work with clients? What are the pricing models we should work with? What is the way we should acquire clients and attract them as well? One of the most important things, which is the last segment of this conversation, is retention. Because when we are moving them from L1 to L2 and then L3, a lot of times we see the numbers dropping. So I would want to ask this question to everyone, and whoever would want to take it up, that what is the best way to retain your people so that they stay with you for a longer period of time and you don't have to always get new people into the funnel. So your people keep retaining and they keep growing with you as you grow as a coach.
See, for me, to be very honest with you, like I have never sold once people come in level 1, where they get the transformation, and then they ask, or what is the next level, or probably I call them and I brief them. But see, nowadays the problem is, people are not कंजूसी, I can use that word. So अरे यहाँ पे level 2 में क्या सिखाओ, level 3 में क्या सिखाओ. I think that's the big problem that we are making. So just give your heart, don't worry what you will do at level 2, level 3. Give your 100% and don't have that intent, no, now next month I'm going to sell them level 2, because when your intent are not pure, people will come to know you're just trying to sell next level. So for me, see, my all levels are not dependent. Like for example, if in my level 1 is the morning ritual that people go through, and after that it's my NLP foundational. So both are not linked. So, and then my level 3 is NLP practitioner. So obviously when people see the result, and if you see my funnel, everything is about mindset. It's not something that I'm teaching. See, like I made that mistake when I started my journey. So after morning rituals, what should I teach? So I was confused, but I need to have something. So then I thought, I will also make coaches, but I was not in alignment. Okay, and then I stopped it and I thought, no, let me just work on it. So that's 2 years I didn't sell anything, but still that community was there with me. And then moment I learned NLP, I started implementing NLP techniques on me, and when I launched that NLP program, people buy it. So if you see, like if I had around 80 people in my morning ritual in my level 1, around, you can say, around 45 people brought. So that's a decent. I would not say that all people will buy, because you never know that people will be ready after. But I keep nurturing them. So
Correct.
I don't believe in this level 1, level 2, level 3. All my level 1 are not dependent on each other. So if I will give my best in that level 1, if they want to go to the next level, they'll come, and I don't want to do any forceful selling. I don't believe in it, because the moment you sell something forcefully, then it backfires you. Then, like, people start asking for refunds and all that stuff. See, nowadays people are not sharing the darker side. People are just sharing, I have made this much profit in level 2, this much in level 3. But are you telling me that you don't have a single refund, where people are backed out, where people have not liked it? Again, a lot of coaches I'm seeing that not telling the real world, not telling that it's very easy to tell, like 70% came into level 3, but to be very honest with you, that's not the truth. So I think we should, and I believe, why you want to make your model so like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, just have 1 or 2 levels and give your best. I'm sure like Shweta might have, for example, Anirudh, now he's doing his public speaking like workshop. So I'm sure like he has that path. I want to just focus on, yeah, if someone wants to become master in it, then I'm another level. Now imagine if he brings 4 or 5 levels just for profit. I want to sell this, I want to sell this. When people will be, yaar ye eda bana raha hai, okay? He's just trying. He's just trying to make money. And again, he will make money, but then after a few years, people will see the intention, and then the business start impacting. So I don't think so. It works in every market. Let's not copy. Yeah, if something is working for someone, just be honest with yourself. Do you really want to do? I see, one thing I've learned: make peaceful money.
Yeah.
Peaceful money. Now you decide whether you want to make peaceful money, or whether you want to I just want to recommend one book to all the audience. You'll come to know the power of real coach, The Prosperous Coach by Rich Litwin. Beautiful book, amazing book. Every coach who must read that book, The Prosperous Coach.
The link in the description.
Again, don't buy that book. It's very costly. It's better try to find out ebook and take the printout of that book, because it's 4,000. Okay, so I don't want. Then you should blame me about, like, I don't want all that stuff. You find a ebook, or if you want an ebook, I can help you take the printout of it. It's a PDF file, and then you read it. So I think I don't believe in this concept of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I have only 2 levels, and I'm happy with it. So probably Anirudh and Shweta can tell more about it. Yeah.
Continuation what Amol said, that when I started with my public speaking, I started it after a decade, right? So I am a public speaker since 2013, and people have been approaching me for teaching it to them. I was not doing it, not knowing whether I should do it or not, right? So when I started getting repeated requests of it, and then I could find out, as Amol said, that कि अगर वो दूसरा level भी है, तो it's absolutely okay, right? But for me, I personally felt that public speaking is something which is mandatory for all the coaches, right?
Right.
So coach है तो बोलना तो है ही ना, बात तो करनी ही है, right? So that is something which I felt that, and I realized that the people whom I am interacting with, the budding coaches that I have as a community also, they'll need more hand holding in terms of public speaking as well, right? So that's why I incorporated that particular element into my my offerings, right? So that is something which I did. And in terms of in terms of levels, I personally feel that, as Amol rightly said, that 2 major levels wherein you are working more focusedly. In between, it should be a stepping stone, right? It should be just a transition phase that, I want to experience. वहां जाने से पहले मैं कुछ देखना चाहता हूं, लेकिन मैं यहां पर नहीं रहना चाहता.
Right.
So वो जो स्टेज है, उस स्टेज पे आप एक ट्रांजिशन लेवल पे अगर आप कुछ बनाना चाहते हो, तो आप you can definitely have a different kind of approach or different kind of offerings in that particular aspect. And as every individual have a different set, right? And every individual must have a different set. किसी के लिए कोई चीज काम कर रही है, जरूरी नहीं कि आपके लिए भी वही चीज काम करेगी, ठीक है? और ये इवॉल्व होता है ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम.
Correct.
Right. So I started with one particular program, rather with one particular niche, and I realized that I was not growing as an individual in that particular niche. Though my candidates, the mentees or the students who were coming to me, they were growing, right? But ultimately, what was happening is the questions were the same, right? And the answers were also the same. Only the faces, the people who were asking the questions, they were getting changed. So
Yeah.
me as an individual, I was not growing. So I was not happy in that niche. So I started identifying कि मेरा exactly thought process कहाँ पे बैठता है, right? So
Right.
that's how confidence and clarity came into picture over the churning of around 7.5, 8 years into it, right?
Correct.
So that is the output which happened. And then I realized that, okay, initially I was just going with one particular approach. Then the approach changed to something else. Then it changed to something else. Now it is absolutely different, right? Now I realize that, probably the people who are coming to me may need that kind of hand holding in terms of the levels. That's the reason I introduced levels in. Pehle it was not levels at all. Pehle it was
Right.
just like, bhai, aao, baitho, karo, jao, right? But I
Right.
realized that, I cannot have, that's the reason I don't have a batch-wise system also, right? So any person who wants to get into my system, they can get into it at any given point of time, right? So
Right.
it's not कि जनवरी में चालू होगा तो अप्रैल में खत्म होगा या मार्च में खत्म होगा, कुछ नहीं. You want to join it today, you join it today. You want to join it after 2 months, you join it after 2 months, right? So and very rightly said that, Amol, कि refund वाला जो back part जो है वो लोग नहीं बताते, right? I have interacted with one of the coach and I don't want to mention the name also, but just because of the value system of that individual was so high, he refunded 30 lakh rupees to the mentees because he was not able to provide the value. Or the person who him hired was not able to deliver the value. He said, यार कि market में नाम खराब नहीं होना चाहिए.
Correct.
Right. So even today, whoever is there in my high ticket programs also, like so I have made it very clear that at any given point of time, if you think that it's not worth it for me, whatever you have paid so far, it's okay. If you want it back, you take it back and you please continue with your journey with whoever you want. I am absolutely okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want a money which is coming to me which has a negative energy attached to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
That is
फिर
very
वो
important.
फिर वो 2000 हो या 2 लाख हो, मेरे पास कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं आनी चाहिए जिसमें एनर्जी नेगेटिव अटैच्ड है.
Right.
If the money is coming to me with complete satisfaction कि यार ठीक है, मैं जो दे रहा हूँ ना, मुझे जो मिला उसके अगेंस्ट में दे रहा हूँ, I'm happy to pay that money. I'll be more than happy to receive it.
Right.
Right? So that's a very clear thought, and I'm absolutely in sync with what Amol said, that whatever the people are starting with their journey, always have this thought process that, okay, if the time comes and you have to refund that, do it if it is it's against your values, and if not, then add more value to people so that instead of reducing the price, add more value to people so that they should not have that feeling they should not have the feeling of being cheated at all.
Yeah, right. I think what I've understood from what we have been discussing when we talk about retention marketing, it is not that one customer is going to go from, step bottom to step up. It can be at any point in time that a customer can enter any step of the ladder that they want to.
True.
That is also about retention marketing. Second, what I understand is that if the person is connected to you in your community and they are staying with you, whether they stay at a level that they want to, whether they want to go on a level up, is also retention marketing, wherein the customer is staying in your community and then choosing what they want to do. And I think the third part, which is very rightly, well crafted by Aniruddha, which is that energy, what is coming to you, is very important because it is often said that one good customer might just refer one more good customer. But one bad customer with bad intention can spoil 100 others because they would be more vocal about it. Whereas the people who have experience might be less vocal about it, but those who have not felt good will be more vocal about it. So I think I would like to sum up the whole thing of keeping your people close to you, whether they continue to go with you on the ladder up or whether they choose to be with you on a certain ladder, is about the key word would be implementation. If they were at a level where they wanted a result and they've got it, they are a happy, satisfied customer. They may not want to continue from there because of their own reasons, or they might have entered at a level where they wanted a particular result, they've implemented it and they've got it.
So Manmit,
So
I'll just like to add one example. Like, see, how did it happen with me when I decided to learn NLP? So I just wanted to learn NLP practitioner. Okay. So like my coach is Aslesh. Okay. So I just learned, and he had another program which was masterful communication. But because I got the value, I decided to join his program. After masterful communication, the third program was redesign. Again, I got knowledge. Again, I got a lot of values. He didn't ask me. I approached him. I want to go for my third. After third, it came. Now we are part of the 1-year mentorship program. Okay. Now again, he didn't call me. I approached him. Now, can you can you see it's so easy, no? Like when you get results in all the level, you and same thing happened with my batchmates. Slowly and gradually, they feel, no, I need to go to the next level. Now I need to go. No, he never sold anything, and the best part, he has never sold any program to anyone. Just people go because why? The intent and the value does that he give in every program. And you know what? When I started my journey, everyone told me, Amol, you should be authority. You shouldn't be accessible. But you know what? This man is easily accessible. I can call him, I can message him, and he responds.
Yeah.
Can you see two side of coaches? One, I learned from one coaches who told me you should be authority, you shouldn't be accessible. The other coach, humble, grounded, approachable. Whether I paid him 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, it doesn't matter. Now you tell me why I would not promote him. Why I would not tell other people, if you want to learn NLP, join. See, again, I'm not promoting him. But can you see like the human tendency, how it works? So in
Correct.
simple way, guys, please understand what you stand for. And as Anirudh said, what you resonate. Okay, if you don't resonate with the values, it's better don't burn your money over there, because you'll regret it. I have lost money in learning, but I don't regret it. At least I learned about human psychology, how exactly it works. Yeah.
Right.
So just that the point I wanted to. Level doesn't matter. You just give your best. You give your values, and people will come and they will become part of your next level.
Right. I think the idea of the entire conversation that we've had so far since the noon is that the idea is for them to be sold rather than you to sell. And the idea is getting results, implementation, and actually, showing them the path of how they can do it. That's been the sum of the entire conversation. One thing that I would want to, ask as we move towards the end is that if anyone would like to get in touch with any of you, what is the best way to get in touch with you? And all of you can answer one by one.
LinkedIn, I virtually there. But I would, although this has not come to me, but I am merging in. When I started my journey, I call myself as a coach and consultant because that's what I do for a living. So coaching is the part where I'm providing strategic input to anyone how they should be leveraging this platform. My few cents with respect to coaches is you may not be clear about your niche from the day one, but once you're clear, be patient to stick around.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people who are switching niches because okay, ये work नहीं कर रहा, चलो इसमें पैसे नहीं है, then you're not becoming a go-to person for anything. For me, I was sure from the day one that I will only stick to LinkedIn personal branding, and trust me, people have nudged me, pushed me left, right, center. इतना छोटा सा niche लेके क्यों बैठी हो? And I'm still like, for another 10 years, I want to be LinkedIn personal branding. I am seeing a market here. I'm seeing a potential here. I am hands full. I am beyond my bandwidth. Why would I want to, I've rejected people who say, मुझे Instagram करना है. मैं लोगों को मिलवा देती हूँ. I'm not the right person. I have an ecosystem. मैं मिलवा देती हूँ. I don't have a revenue share also. अगर मेरे client को value add मिल रहा है, for email marketing from Manmeet, I would definitely go and refer. If किसी brand strategist से मिल रहा है, I would definitely go and refer because I don't want to get into that revenue share vicious circle of pressure and all that. So one thing is, if you're sure about your niche from the day one, stick to your niche and be patient. If you are not enjoying while choosing the niche, your reason to change the niche should be that. Not that you're not making enough money in this niche. That will never be the case. हर niche में पैसा बना सकते हो आप, but आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि like whom are you talking to, what is the all of that process of evolution in terms of marketing and selling your services. With regards to retention, my coaching stops at providing the strategic input. When I started my journey, since I didn't have enough background, I chose to give only this 1 month coaching, consulting, whatever you may call it. And then, it was like you have the roadmap, you've understood, and then you do it on your own. Now, there was no product, so to say, or a service, so to say, for me to offer to them, for them to retain with me for a longer duration. And as a natural extension, it was only when I start managing their profiles, I start ghostwriting for them. When I started doing that, right from the coaching part also, and now also, it is very bold and brave, so to say. The first client, I told him, you're my first client. Okay, and I told him I'm going to take 100% money in advance. Once the money comes in, I'll schedule the first call. For some, it may sound rude, for some, it may sound confident, but I was providing 100% money back guarantee. No questions asked. The reason is there is a level of commitment when you are already paying upfront. So,
Yeah.
I am valuing your time and you are valuing my time. And that was the reason I wanted to, and honestly, after paying 100% money in advance, there's one gentleman that I am chasing past 7 months. Sir, ya to paisa le lo ya kaam shuru karo, because you have paid money in advance. So I have a first world problem, so to say. There was one client of mine who, because we were expanding so fast and building teams and all, there were slip-ups happening, gaps happening, etc. Because when you're in a freelance mode, you're pretty hands-on. But when you have a team and you're building an agency, you have a lot of clients, etc. So I was not satisfied with the result that he was getting. There was some element where he was responsible for it, and there was like some element where we were also responsible for it. And I gave him that till the time you start seeing results the way we had intentionally started our journey with, I will provide you my services free of cost. Because and once you start seeing the result, if you decide to quit the engagement, it's fine. But till the time you're seeing the result, you have to stick around with me, and you will have to, we'll have to work towards making that happen.
Right.
It's not, I don't want you to leave bitter, saying that I didn't get value for this thing. This was one incident with one of my customers. The second incident was that this gentleman who reached out to me, a very, very reputed Supreme Court lawyer, and I saw that he's been shifting service providers like, every 3 months, every 6 months. So I was seeing a pattern anyhow. And I gave a lot of value in my capacity. This gentleman said that I want to stop the engagement, and we were almost on the day 20 of the month. So, the money that we've already provided 20 days of value. He said that because this month, ye to month complete nahi hua hai, so I need my money back. The month that I've already paid in advance for. No questions asked. I paid the amount in full. I didn't even deduct the 20 days work worth of, because you as a coach should, or as a person, should decide which battle is worth fighting for. Okay, I can make that 35, 40, whatever in no time, rather than, sitting. And I have seen people like, mere 20,000 iske bante hain, mere. Don't waste your time in that. And also one thing that I have observed is the model that you choose as a coach has a lot to do with what is your core value as a person. So when in a webinar, you see a Siddharth Rajshekar hard, in your terminology, hard selling, because you're not identifying, the core values are not matching. I believe Anirudh also pointed that. And when Siddharth is selling and somebody is like really focused on how he's pitching, how he's selling, this is, wowed by the whole process, there is a match in the core value somewhere. So there's no right or wrong, in my opinion. Everything is good, whether you have 4 levels, whether you have 2 levels, whether you are hard selling, whether you're soft selling. Only thing is, बिजनेस चलना चाहिए, बिजनेस ग्रो होना चाहिए, और हर कस्टमर को वैल्यू मिलनी चाहिए. बॉटम लाइन ये है. एंड in the process of building a coaching business, I will anchor this last statement is, in the process of building your coaching business, you should also be in the process of becoming. If you're
Yeah.
not doing that, you're going to falter at some day or the other.
Absolutely, I 100% agree to that. It has to be a gradual progress for everyone. And like I was saying, that if anybody would like to get in touch with all the three speakers that we have today, we'll mention the LinkedIn links below the video in the description. Feel free to reach out to them and tell them how you loved them on the roundtable and you would like to get in touch with them. Now, we would open the questions to the room. Anybody who has a question, please raise your hand. Tell what your question is, and then also tell that who would you like to ask this question to. We have about 10 minutes for questions. So anybody would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and then let us know the question and who would you want to ask it to. Have we covered everything that there are no questions at all?
People have understood everything, I guess. Wow,
Hi,
nice.
this is Muthu here.
Excuse me.
No
Yeah.
specific,
Yes.
no specific question. I just want to commend the real like since April I have been trying a lot of courses this year with a lot of time and intensity. But I had actually got hyped up around okay, you can make so many lakhs, you can make so many crores in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and all those things. And I kept on paying and paying. But though I put so much of effort, I got so frustrated that it was not helping me to get results. I bought L1, then okay, then I get an L2 with the hope that okay, then result will come, then L3. So there was not like a commensurate result. So the question I really want to appreciate each of you for being very, very candid and honest about what you can expect once you get into this coaching business. I'm a life coach. Me and my wife, we do couples coaching as well. So the question I have is, when you design a L1, L2, L3 kind of thing, uh, should it be result at some result we have to produce for them at that stage, rather than trying to say that do it yourself. So 5,000 rupees you give L1, you do everything yourself. L2 also you give 40,000, but again it seems to be do almost everything yourself. Then give me 1 lakh or 2 lakh, then it seems to be like okay, but the access to the course founder or somebody is very, very less. So what's your take on, anybody can answer, I'm not sure whom to ask specifically. But should we focus on bringing result at L1, L2, L3 stage? If so, how do we go about designing the package itself?
So, Srinivasa, can you first let me know when did you start it? Means when have you started? Like since how long you've been doing coaching, or you just entered?
No, last 10 years, me and my wife, we speak on television, and we have been doing offline seminars on marriage and leadership and on life skills. Okay. But
No, into online means when means
online also maybe 4 years or so. Since COVID time, we started doing seminars online. But I have never done coaching. All I have done is only training and teaching. Okay, that was also another mirage. I don't know how I got into this terminology of coaching. Nobody was talking about training and teaching. I did my MA in family life education. So I'm an educator and I do preventive seminars. So I don't know if coaching is a good thing for me to do, or should I stick with teaching, training, equipping?
see, it depends on you, like what you like. Do you love to coach? Do you love to ask
Yeah.
questions? As Shweta said, like coaching is what? Like you just ask questions and every person has the solutions within them. So coach job is to ask powerful questions. So do you love to ask questions?
My honest answer is I'm happy to do anything and everything, whether it is called coaching, counseling, mentoring, training, equipping, whatever, to bring results for my participants. Because 10 years I have been teaching. Everybody says very good feedback, the right feedback, they'll give testimonials, but their life is not changing.
So why like you said you're doing 10 years training and you're getting good feedback also, then why you want to shift into coaching?
Because it's not getting results for them. They are getting concepts and ideas, how to improve communication, how to manage conflict, how to have conversation with in-laws. All knowledge is there. but they become so busy they are not able to implement. So so to bring them results, I feel coaching is a very good approach.
Okay,
And
and can I ask you one more question? Like,
yeah.
how many one-on-ones you have done? Like one-on-ones. Once not one too many. You have
Yeah.
just done one-on-one. How many one-on-ones you have done?
3 months ago, I started and I'm doing one-on-ones for 5 people, and I'm struggling to do that. The one-on-ones are really tough.
Okay. See, if you really want to grow, I would share my experience. Then Anirudh and Shweta will talk about their perspective. Uh, talk like when I started my journey, I have spoken to more than 100 people. Okay, just to understand their problem, their challenges, and what exactly they're looking for. Okay, so the reason this morning ritual was born, just because people wanted to wake up, they wanted to overcome procrastination and habit, and I still do one-on-one. So the best way is do one. I'm sure Anirudh will agree. He has also done a lot of one-on-one. So when you do one-on-one, you'll understand what people are going through, what solution they're looking for, and what they have tried. So very simple. See, when I do one-on-one, I ask just 3 questions. What are the problem that they're going through? Okay, what is the outcome that they're looking to achieve? Okay, and why they want to achieve that outcome, and what they have tried to overcome this problem. What they have tried. So they will say, I've tried meditation, I've tried so and so thing. Okay, so that has not worked for him. So you'll understand, okay, they have tried this, but it does not work for them. So I want to try something new. Okay, so then you start doing research, then you start building, then you do your first pilot batch, then you'll come to know, yeah, these things have worked. Like for example, now I know NLP has worked for me, and it is working for people, like NLP tools, whatever tools I've learned. So I think every program has techniques, tools, but the best way is to get from people, understand from people. The best way is to do it. I'm not telling you to do 100 one-on-one, but at least do 50 one-on-one, and just ask this 4-5 basic questions, and you'll come to know. You'll come to know what solution you want to give. Yeah, Anirudh, Shweta, over to you.
Sorry, one follow. When you say one-on-one, it's only one session, right? You mean only
Yeah,
one?
like one-on-one. Like for example, let's say like I told Anirudh to have a discovery call with me. So in that call, I'm not going to sell anything to Anirudh. I'm just going to understand the pain, problem, goal, desire, what he has tried, what has not worked for him, what has worked for him. Okay, so I will do like 50 calls, and then I will analyze. Like for example, see, this is a one way, and then I had done a survey with 3,000 people. So obviously 3,000 people had my WhatsApp group. So I send them a survey form just to understand what problem they are going through and what solution they are looking for. So then I have understood that there are only 5 problems people go through in their life. Now this is not from me. This is from the survey. First is procrastination and laziness. Second, lack of clarity. People don't have clarity. Focus on productivity, stress, and people overthink. So these are the 5 common problems that people are going through. And it has done, like it, I have a proof, like it has been done. I know. So if I just focus on how I can help people to achieve this 5 problem, and what technique. So what is the technique? The MRM technique. Then the NLP tool. Okay. So when I do that, okay, people get results. So this is how I like. This is how I collected testimonials for my program, and that's how I become confident. No, only this is now I can tell confidently to Anirudh to, or where is it? You do this for 1 month, and if it doesn't work for you, you take a refund, because I know it has worked for me. It has worked for many people, but I came to know after doing survey and after talking to people. Yeah, Anirudh, over to you.
Oh, sorry.
No, please, Shweta, continue.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
take it after that. Yeah.
A couple of things that and I may be completely wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong. See, when you have invested too much time in teaching and training, one has to first change oneself to a coach. Because when you're in the teaching and training, you are giving information. You're not actually conversing, you're not actually listening. So when you are sitting one-on-one with someone and trying to understand their problems and trying to resolve them, you are still in the teaching and training zone. So when first we have to identify, maybe one of the reasons that you're struggling when it comes to one-on-one coaching or mentoring or whatever I would call coaching, not mentoring, because coaching is where you are seeking to bring transformation, and that is what possibly you want for your clients and for your participants, right? Now, if transformation is what you want, A, it is a long drawn process. B, you have to listen more, ask very less questions, pointed questions, and find a mechanism where you can track the transformation. So there has to be a tracker in a way. Okay. So suppose if I'm thinking about weight loss, how many times I was able to stop my urge? Okay, 5 times. Now it has reduced to 2 times. It has reduced to, it'll be baby steps. Transformation will always be a baby step, process. So teaching and training mein kya, you gave the information, you got the dopamine by the feedback, and you're done. Okay. Now, as a business model, also you have to think that if transformation is something that you really want, how can you still make the business happen? Okay, you can possibly choose a combination of training and coaching and consulting, whatever that you think. But be very, very cognizant of the fact that which avatar you are in right now. You can't remain be a trainer while you're coaching. It will not work. Also, you will definitely, आपने सब कुछ समझा दिया, उनको सब कुछ समझ में आ गया, सबको पता है, whatever coaches are telling, whether it is Gary or whether it is Tony Robbins, everybody knows what they are telling. It's not that they're telling anything new. So whether aha moment and bringing money in your bank is okay with you, then you can stick to training. If you really want to go to a level where it is fulfilling for you to see the transformation, then you also add coaching to it. When you are adding coaching, one point of contention, one point of thought is in terms of how much you're charging your coaches. Now, charge something which makes them, which pinches them. If it is not hurting them, they will not take those baby steps. Okay, so choose an amount. If you choose an amount where I'm with you for 6 months and I'm paying, say, 50,000, 50,000 is peanuts for me. Result or no result, I will, be dilly-dallying. But if you're charging me 5 lakhs, which is a pinch in my pocket, I will make sure that I attend. I'll make sure that I listen. I make sure that I'll follow. Not everybody is driven. Trust me. You will have to make that, make that work for you. So the reason why, if you want to invest the time in bringing transformation to your people, and if you're choosing coaching as a methodology, then figure out a way where you can invest that duration with that person, and the person also invests in his or her transformation in terms of the price point and the methodology that you're going to evolve. I am seeing a lot of coaches doing coaching, but they do not have any method to track the progress. And if you can't measure, you can't, change, as it is said. And if you can't measure, you also don't know how much progress your coachee has made in a way. With weight loss, it is pretty evident, but for everything else, it is, you need some mechanism around it. But yes, training and training, if that has been in your DNA for a very long time, you possibly need to do something around your approach while you're coaching.
Okay, very valid point. Thank you so much.
In addition to what Amol and Shweta has mentioned, I'll just add 2-3 more points to it. Number one, results has 2 elements to it. One is tangible and one is intangible. Right. So if you are looking out for a tangible output for them, as we said that we need to quantify that. How are we going to measure it? Number one. If it is intangible, what are the things that you are going to focus on? How are you going to put it across? Right. So as Shweta has very rightly said that, how are you going to put it? Right. So in terms of like whether you should do it in level 1, level 2, or level 3, it should be result oriented. Right. So you need to have certain parameters saying that कि यहाँ से यहाँ तक लेकर के जाऊंगा, and for that this is what is going to be and how it is going to work around, right? So you need to have that very clear thought process in front of you. That's where your program structure comes into picture, right? So when I was doing my research in terms of budding coaches, I realized that most of the coaches struggle with 4 basic elements, right? One is visibility, second is the authority, third is the process, and fourth is the result. Either they are struggling with their visibility, they are not known to people, so they are struggling with that. They don't have the authority because they don't know how to sell themselves or the program or the process, right? So they are struggling with that, the second element. Third is they have the visibility, they have the authority in the market, people know them for who they are, but still they don't know how to generate the results. So they are stuck with the process. They don't know how to do it, right? And probably there are going to be the fourth set of people, they have all three elements with them, but still they are not being able to generate the results, right? So mota it falls under that. So that automatically became my framework, right? So when you speak on framework, when you show a structure to your audience and tell them that from यहाँ से ना यहाँ पे आप जाएंगे और वो कैसे जाएंगे, that will give you more confidence of telling them that okay, from level 1 you are going to reach here to level 2, from level 3 from here, for level 4 for this, then level 5, level 6, whatever levels you want to add to it, right? So these levels is for the progression of an individual, right? I'm not saying levels of your program. Now levels of a program can be separate levels to each program also, right? Each program for your level 1 as a program can have a separate framework. Level 2 in itself can have a separate framework. Level 3 in itself can have a separate framework, right? So you can have as detailed as possible for this, but that can only happen, as Amol rightly said, so closing the loop, as Amol rightly said, the more number of one-to-ones that you do, the more clearer picture you will have in terms of designing it for giving the output to your audience.
Excellent.
Right? So you can just work on that, and in terms of the results, you can definitely make it either make it tangible or intangible, however it is, but you can quantify it in terms of the tracker mechanism, as Shweta rightly said. You can work on that aspect.
So thanks Manmeet for setting it up, and thanks everyone
Thank you so much
inputs.
for everyone for answering such descriptively and for asking that wonderful question. And everybody will be watching this on the recorded version or YouTube or any of our socials. If you want to reach out to any of the speakers, feel free to do that. And thank you once again to all the speakers for taking out time on a weekday in the afternoon and sharing your insights and nuggets with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you and bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so
This has
much.
been a
Thank you.
lovely conversation.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.